Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Travis, and welcome to the third episode of the Line Pole Podcast. If you're sticking around and have gotten through the first two, well, welcome back, and it's great to have you here. So, on this third episode, I have three people joining me today. First, from across the pond, you know I'm on TikTok as the Crane Brain, but Connor, go ahead and chime in, buddy. How you doing over there?
I'm tired, man. I'm very tired. It's currently
I
1:56 in the morning, but I live for this shit. So yeah, not doing too bad.
you, you're a better man than I am, buddy. If somebody tells me to wake up 2 o'clock in the morning to do a podcast, I'd probably be like, "Nah, you're freaking high." So,
Yeah, I'm doing good.
well, thank you for your dedication and for getting on with this. So next, I
No
also have
problem.
brothers, the famous brothers of the Hook. You'll see him on TikTok, on Facebook. Dave, how you doing, buddy? Hopefully, it's not 1 o'clock in the
Oh,
morning where you are.
no, no, nope. I'm doing pretty good. Worked all day, got off, just got home. Uh, Getting that oil to fuel your car.
Well, nice, nice. Just don't be strangling any cats in the background there. I don't know what that was, but damn.
That was my chair.
Oh, okay, okay, cool, cool. So, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for joining in on us. And why don't we get into the news here?
Alrighty. Well, my news topic today is telecrawlers. And Tadano recently upgraded their 1800 telecrawler to a 200-ton class. So, uh, telecrawlers are versatile machines, uh, mobility, plus the functioning of a live stick or lock and pin boom. So they're
Mm-hmm.
they're they're real versatile, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do next.
So what you're saying is, you're pretty much taking a telecrawler is more or less the best of a crawler and an AT. You got the mobility of a crawler mixed in with the assembly time of an AT that'll just shoot out boom instead of having to get a second crane and a whole crew out there in order to put the boom together.
Correct. It builds itself. It can build itself in like 5 hours and be ready to work. Versus a crawler,
Oh,
it takes all day to build and get ready to work.
so how big a size? Like I've seen these come in, what, 45, 65, 85. They're not what you would think of like the super crawlers or even the giant ATs, but what size, what range are we looking at with these?
The Tadano, I think this one goes up to a 200 ton. It was a 180 ton, and
Oh,
they upgraded it, changed the computer, so it's a 180-ton crawler with a teleboom. And they go down
nice.
as low as I think 30 tons. So
Isn't that a
one
cute
of the
little
small
thing?
ones. Oh yeah. Let's see.
So what fancy new what fancy new bells and whistles did Tadano put on their new, what do you say, 180 tons?
Yeah, it was 180 ton. They upgraded to 200. It's in the 200 to 220 class, and
Holy cow.
has outriggers and all that good stuff, and the
So that
tracks
being
that can build
said,
itself.
if you were to put this on the road, like I mean, I'm sure a 30-ton up to, I probably want to say 1 or 110, you could transport that as it sits. I mean, anything 100 tons and more, you probably take a counterweight off, or even 80-ton and more, you're taking counterweight off. But once you get up into the 200 tons, how much do you have to strip, and how many truckloads does it take to transport that?
It takes I think this 180 or the 200 ton. I believe it's two trucks, just the tracks. Well, the counterweight, but uh, two trucks, one for the tracks because the tracks aren't that heavy, and then the ballast weight stays on the house. So all you got left is just the hanging weight.
Oh, okay. So are you saying like are the tracks individual, or do you take the tracks off, then you have
Yeah,
the
the
car
tracks come
body?
off.
So there's the
Yeah, the
tracks,
tracks
there's
come
two
off.
tracks, there's car body weights, and then you have the whole of the upper.
Yes.
Nice. And then of course, you got the tray and you got all the counterweights and whatnot.
This one here is in Connor's language. So the highlights of this crane is 60-meter pin boom. So 5-meter to 23-meter jib, tiltable from 0 to 36. Lift capacity is up to 4 degrees. So roll list angle and all that. It has a
Yeah,
pick and carry chart. Has an impressive pick and carry chart. Uh, Double hook operation with rooster, shiv, and jib. 26-millimeter rope. Uh, Robust, versatile undercarriage with a smart and comprehensive concept. So fully self-rigging operation, rigs itself up, everything. Remote control for all the rigging and operation functions. So they're
yeah,
getting around to where Liebherr is with the remote control, Bluetooth, and all that stuff. So
they'll never be as good as Lieber. They'll never be as good as
it,
Lieber.
it'll be one to watch.
To be honest, you don't actually see many of these Tadano telecrawlers in England. Mostly they use like the LTR 100 or the Liebherr actually do an LTR 220, which is the biggest one of the telecrawlers that they've got. And I got the specs up of the LTR because I'm a big Liebherr fan, and I've also got it in Imperial. Travis, you'd be happy to know.
I am happy to hear what you have in the normal measurements.
So it's a 220 it's a 220 metric, but in US tons it's 250-ton class. It's got a telescopic
That's
boom of 197 feet with a max hoist height of 331 feet, and its max radius is 289 feet. So yeah, pretty impressive. Pretty
that
impressive.
is.
What's that in meters?
But but I think these
What?
telecrawlers are going to start. I think these telecrawlers are going to start innovating the field. Like Robbie said on the last podcast, that they're using a telecrawler for tilt walls. So and it's outperforming the regular ATs and the crawler cranes. So I
Very
think
nice.
it's something
Very
to
nice.
watch.
Well, my question about the Tadanos is, I'm
Hey,
curious though. Oh, hey, how you doing?
who is this? Who is barging in on my podcast?
The one that you intentionally left out, I assume.
Damn it, Kenny! Are you serious? You came back for another one, huh?
I have control of my own mute button. Ha ha. Anyway,
Anyways, go ahead. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I may or may not have intentionally left him out of the introductions. I have my reasons. This is Kenny. You will find him on TikTok as the Hack Job. I do encourage you going to his page, especially if you're into classic trucks, square bodies, and bowling.
hey, appreciate it, man. No,
I'm sure you do.
no, I'm curious as to Tadano if they have gone full Tadano with these, or when they first did the telecrawlers, they either purchased or joined Manus. I don't know exactly, but Manus has their place. They're not a high production machine. They're stout for what they do, but as far as being finesse and things of that nature, they're without sounding like I'm degrading the company altogether, they're just not the greatest when it comes to controls and operators ease of assembly and stuff. I wonder if Tadano on these later model telecrawlers has gone back to their roots of being, their RTs are great, and I wonder if they've done that and incorporated that into their telecrawlers to make them smooth machines and operator friendly machines when it comes to like jib and things of that nature. Is my wonder on it all.
Well, Tadano Mantis Corporation.
Okay.
So Tadano makes the Mantis. Once they bought
Now,
DMAG, they have all the DMAG stuff, Tadano stuff, and all that good crap.
DMAGs suck.
So
DMAGs suck.
I love DMAGs. You're
DMAGs
thinking about
suck.
T-Rex,
Yeah,
T-Rex boom trucks, and T-Rex truck cranes. They suck.
We're not driving
Terex
around
does
We're not driving around
suck.
on dinosaurs. We're not driving around on dinosaurs, Dave. Terex.
Well, neither
Not
are we
T-Rex.
because we don't like them either.
Now
And to be
this
so,
one here real quick, Travis. At
go
45
ahead,
tons of
Dave.
counterweight, 45 tons of counterweight, 15, 15 foot spread on the tracks, or
All
6 meters spread. 15
Like it.
ton ballast weight, 360-degree chart at 18 meters. I don't know how far that is.
What is that, like some
At
odd 60 feet?
I guess at
I don't
4
know.
degrees is it's good for 23.6.
And how much stick did you say it
23.6
had? Like
tons.
tip? How much you push all the stick out? How far are you getting in stick?
I have to
What
get
is
back
it?
to you on that
5 section, 7 section?
one. 60 meters is tip height.
Okay.
So whatever that
I
is in
really need
English.
It's 196 feet, Travis.
Okay, there you
Okay,
go.
awesome.
196 feet, Travis.
Thank you, Kenny. All right, well, I
Even though
appreciate
you
that, guys.
forgot about me, I'll take
So,
care of you, buddy.
what? I don't know what you're
I
talking
said I
about.
love you.
You know, you're always welcome in these podcasts, Kenny. So, anyway, all right. So let's move on to our topic here. The biggest topic of the day that we're going to talk about is dispatching and dispatching horror stories. Everybody has that tale of that one guy or girl, that dispatcher that they loathed or loathed them. You know, we've all had good dispatchers, we've had bad dispatchers, and there's every person I've ever talked to always has a story and always remembers that one dispatcher. So everyone's going to go through here. We're going to tell a couple, you know, stories on, you know, what your thoughts on a dispatcher is, what it takes to make a good dispatcher. What are the horrible things that a dispatcher has either gotten you to do or flat out told that you're going to do or you're going to get fired. And to not just dog on dispatchers for the entire episode, I will take the side of the dispatcher because I have been a dispatcher for cumulatively about a year. I understand, you know, the Tetris game that dispatchers play when it comes to getting all the pieces, all the operators, dealing with all the different personalities that of your crew, dealing with the salesmen, dealing with management. Dispatching really is the most thankless job in the company because you are catching hell from every angle. So I will support you dispatchers and do some explaining, but for the most part, like I said, I've had good dispatchers. I've had horrendous dispatchers. So let's go into it. Kenny, what are your thoughts on a good dispatcher, and what has a bad dispatcher done to you?
Well, you know, my personality, I can accept people for who they are and I can see things through their eyes. I really don't have too much of a bad dispatcher story, although I had one time, just, I don't know, a year or two ago. I was bowling and like, it was like 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. I get a text from them, a dispatch. I'm like, okay. I read it. It says be in yard at 6:30 and dispatch out to, I forget what size crane, take it over somewhere I ain't never heard of. And I get to looking and I'm like, this is in Colorado. And then it hit me. I know who sent me this. So I had to mess with him back a little bit. Yeah.
Oh
But
my god, I can't figured you told that story. So there is a tale behind this. I was actually the one that sent Kenny that dispatch because in my phone, when I send out the nightly dispatches, there was a guy that worked for me. His name was Kenny. Right below that, there was this Kenny hack job. So I'm typing out the dispatch, what everything needs to do, and I Kenny, check, hit, send, whatnot, and well, I sent him the wrong dispatch. Never thought it'd come back up in a podcast, but it is an entertaining story to tell, and just goes to show you that when you're dealing with about 35 to 40 to 100 moving pieces, sometimes things fall through the cracks.
no, I mean it is. I can understand it. I can see it. Um, like I said, I've not really had much negative on the dispatch, all other than sorry, this is what you got to do, type of thing. You try to sometimes you try to explain a situation. I've had several instances where I just refuse to run a crane for my own personal views of safety, And dispatcher was just like, well, sorry about it. You can run that or sit at home. And of course, I chose, well, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I get it. They don't have nobody else to run it. They don't have no other way to ship the crane out. The money's already been spent, whatever. But I mean, it all the different personalities, all the different windbags you got to listen to day in and day out. The salesman bombarding you here, this way or the other. I can imagine just the headache that goes on in there, and having to try to coordinate this circus full of just chimpanzees bouncing and hollering everywhere. It's wild.
And that is the best way to put it, as just a flying circus with a bunch of chimpanzees. Especially when you get big egos walking in there thinking that their job is the most important job. Um, Connor, what are your thoughts and experiences behind this?
Yeah, so first of all, the metric version of dispatch over here is planner. We don't call it dispatch.
Hmm, I learned something today.
Yeah, so I've got one kind of story, and it's a very short one, but this is the kind of dispatch I was dealing with when I first started. I got sent out on a job in a 55, did the job, and then as I was travelling back, pulled over for a stop, got a text message, pull the crane back to the yard, and can you go down to the farm because we've got some turkeys that need plucking.
What? You want
I
to?
swear.
Are you being literal here, like an actual turkey that
Yeah,
needed to be
yeah,
plucked while you're
yeah.
doing crane work, or is this like an analogy or something that I'm just not from
No,
a slang term for something that I'm not familiar with?
no, that's straight up. He said, "Can you go to the farm and we need a hand plucking the turkeys for Christmas?"
So, did you get paid your crane wages to pluck these
Yeah,
turkeys?
yeah, man, yeah,
Well,
yeah. I
I
didn't have a
mean,
didn't have a problem.
why not? Did you get to keep a turkey?
Yep, yep. You get to keep a turkey, yeah, which was good
Hey,
for Christmas.
honestly, I'd say freaking full send, buddy. Let's get up into some turkeys here. So, Kenny, what are your thoughts on turkey farming and
Well,
crane work?
I've had turkeys given to me on around Thanksgiving and Christmas as kind of a kind gesture from customers,
Yeah, yeah.
but never.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a new one. That's great.
All right. So, all right, not to deviate too much from dispatching and turkeys, although there is a joke to be made in there about how they're one and the same. Dave, do you got any? You've been in this industry a long time. I'm sure you've dealt with every aspect of dispatcher, good and bad, and every run in the middle. What do you got to say on it?
Man, dispatching is a thankless job, and I'm glad I don't have it. But it it's just I try to get along with my dispatchers, and I try to get along with them and make them my friends, so that way they send me on good jobs. But sometimes that doesn't always work out. So, but there was one yesterday. They sent me a dispatch. Hey, you got to be on location at 5:30. Well, I show up and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. Nobody shows up till like 7:30. I'm like, okay, I got you.
I
But
feel the anger just
thankfully,
brewing.
oh yeah. But thankfully, it's a daylights only job, so uh, I'm glad about that. So they'll leave me alone on this job. So
See, that's
um,
that's not bad.
another one
The
was I got one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my
Um,
god.
I've been out in the field for I was rigging at the time, and I was out chasing a snubbing unit. And snubbing unit goes on top of the well and it runs pipe down the hole and all that good shit under pressure.
Hmm.
And I was out there for 48 days chasing this snubbing unit as a rigger.
Jeez. Yeah.
We get done with the job. I get back to the yard. My wife is there to pick me up. I'm putting my stuff in the car, and my phone rings. Hey, we need you to go tonight to go to Conoco and rig for this and this and this. And I was like, no, man, I just got back. Are you out of your mind? No.
See, and that is the most important thing that you need to do is stand up for yourself, stand up for what you're worth, and never let them put you in a dangerous situation. Because at the end of the day, they're not the ones that are going to have face consequences for it, or they're not. It's not going to come down on them. It's going to come down on
Oh,
you.
exactly.
So honestly, the biggest when I was dispatching, and I hated dispatching because generally I like my coworkers. I like everybody that I worked with. And dispatching and telling these guys what to do made me not like them. Right? Because everybody's, all the different personalities, like Penny had said earlier, and all the different, you got to deal with all the people. And I like to think of myself as a pretty good people person. And that is a taxing job. The other thing one more thing I wanted to say on that is the best way I have found when dealing with people and trying to prepare them, because you're going to throw them into the shit. You know that you got a job coming up and nobody's going to want to do it. It's going to be hell. The best thing that I have come up with is to give people information and notice. If you got to send some dude out of town for X amount of days or weeks, as soon as you find out, tell him so he can start preparing. If you know that this guy is going to run into just a shitty situation and it's gonna suck and he's going to have to embrace the suck, tell him as soon as you can and give him all the information you can so that way he's one prepared and two mentally prepared to embrace the suck. It makes that transition so much easier. So Kenny, I saw you were thinking of, you had a comment to say on this.
Well, Connor, I think Connor was going to chime in. He's been waiting
Oh
patiently.
yeah.
Connor, do you still got something to say there? Or?
Yeah. I was just thinking because you've Travis sat on both sides of the fence. It might be a little bit obvious to some people, but do you think it helps having a dispatch that's been out in the field and done the job on the other side? Do you think that helps?
Absolutely. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think if you're going to take a dispatch job, a sales job, a management position, or more or less own a crane rigging trucking company, you
yeah,
should have started in the field. So that way you understand the work, you understand the requirements, you understand the pains, the headaches, the customers, the
yeah,
obligations, and everything that your field crew has to go through. I have seen too many dispatchers that have never they haven't spent a day out there. They
yeah,
don't know the intricacies. They think you could send a 245 out to do a 3-hour job with full rock and jib. You don't understand that it takes time to build these cranes. That you need the proper amount of budgeting. And this goes same with salespeople as well. If you
Mm-hmm.
get a
yeah,
salesman, I've seen more salesmen fail because they were never been out in the field to know what the job entails.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Dave, what are your thoughts? Kenny, what are your thoughts? One of the two of you can
Um,
jump on in on this.
well, me being also coming from the field to a different. I mean, I'm not exactly dispatch, but I'm a erector now, and I work hand in hand with dispatch on coordinating trucks, trailers out in the yard, what components are in the yard, so that dispatch can push and see what we need to receive and all that good stuff. Um, it does help. Now, the dispatcher I work with, has not been on this side, but she is phenomenal at respecting and understanding what is going on as far as she has learned the terms, she has learned the job, she wants pictures, she is phenomenal at it. But dang, train derailed. I'm sorry, guys. She's phenomenal at it. We work hand in hand here. I can understand the frustration that can go along with it, and it helps to have people that know what this side of it's dealing with. Oh, I was going with sorry, I'm all over the place. I was going with telling you when you're going to be out of town. Does a phenomenal job of like calling you up a week in advance, be like, "Hey, heads up, the job is not totally set yet, but there's a chance that you could possibly be going out." That right there says the world and a half to
Yeah,
a guy. We know we got to go out of town. It's the nature of our jobs. We know that we got to take the shaft sometimes, and you know what? Just having that slight respect, more or less, than a heads up, makes it a lot easier. So
yeah, I'd agree, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And because this is one that maybe we should have had Justin in on, because we've all heard these horror stories from Justin. How they wait till the night before. They said, "Hey, guess what? You're going to spend 2 weeks, 200 miles away. Hope you packed a bag. Not go pack a bag, but you should have a bag right now." And I worked for a trucking company down in San Antonio that was the same way. It didn't. You had no notice. You carried your 3 bag with you, and if you ran job to job to job to job, and when the sun went down, you found a hotel. When the sun came up, you carried on before. So I mean, you were always within 100 miles of the yard, but yet you could be out of town for a week. You wouldn't see your bed for a week. And honestly, it's something like that. I always found frustrating because planning and you just want to know what's going on and what to prepare for. What are your thoughts,
Yeah,
Dave?
that's how we're dispatched, is by fly by wire, and I hate it. Um, we'll go on days off, and I'll be like, "Hey, what's coming up?" "Oh, we don't know yet. We don't know yet." Every job, and there's a big white board right there on the wall that has all the jobs on it. So, and you don't know what's going on. You know,
and,
Jeez.
and that's the most frustrating. I don't know, like the worst dispatchers I've ever had. They were either A, just straight ignorant, B, thought it was like a power trip. I have information and you don't. That is by far the worst thing that you can do. So, Connor, what do you got a thought on that?
Yeah, I'm just kind of going on what Kenny was saying about dispatchers. Obviously, they are behind the scenes when you're on the job, but they do have a huge amount of responsibility and play an integral role, especially with the heavier cranes. Like you've got, I don't know if you're putting luffer on a crane or you've got 8 or 9 wagons. Getting all that together it's a big planning operation, and it definitely helps you on site. Um, when they can get all that and it all runs smooth and everything, they don't get enough credit for what they do. Obviously, you do get your bad dispatches that you'd be the first one to slate them when something does go wrong. But yeah, when they get it all 100% perfect, it's they don't get enough credit. They don't get enough credit. I certainly couldn't
No,
do it.
this
I don't have the temper.
this is
I don't
very
have the
true.
temper. I don't have
Because
the temper.
you it takes a special person in order to be like to deal with dispatch. The
Yeah,
best of them deserve the best amount of respect for the amount that for
Mm-hmm.
everything that they have to put up with, and it takes you an incredible amount of organization and attention to detail that
yeah,
I've known few people that I've come across have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I can, the attention to detail, because we all know that putting these cranes together and transporting these cranes, multiple trucks at different times to get to the same spot. I mean, it's short of an act of God sometimes, especially like
yeah.
Connor said. You got like let's take the 1750 with 77
Whoop,
meter
whoop.
luffer with the V2 and all that stuff in it. You got 18 counterweight rocks. You have outrigger mats. You have, in the case of the United States, the upper house, the boom, the Y guy, all comes off of the crane along with any attachments to the head of the boom. 20 plus sections of jib going in this thing. We're looking at, in America, we're looking at 25, 30 trucks to get this crane to a job site. And
It's
sometimes,
crazy.
depending on the size of the company, they could be in multiple different yards. So now we're calling around. I'm taking inventory of my yard, seeing what we have here, looking to make sure the configuration so that my dispatcher is not solely left at trying to figure out what pieces need to be found. I try to go a step above and help her by saying, we need this piece, and this piece, so she can call or send emails with the exact what we need instead of hoping she gets the right terminology. It is crazy. And then at the last minute things will change. We'll go through all that and things will change. And I think this is where operators and truck drivers need to have some respect and understanding of dispatch, that the job pushes. A job will cancel in a heartbeat. It will push. I have been in the middle
Yeah,
of loading trucks and she'd call and say, hey, that job pushed or that job canceled. Go ahead and unload everything.
yeah,
Instead of losing your mind over it, understand it's just part of the game. Something happened on the job site to a component to this, to that we cannot use the crane. So sure, you was planning and gearing up to go do something, but it changed. So now the dispatcher has to be the bearer of the bad news and say, sorry, never mind, all that work you did's in vain, Not like it ain't a cost to the company either, you know what I mean? All the money that went into trucking, the fuel, the labor, all that stuff has just basically been wasted because there's not much you can back bill for a cancellation or pushing of the job, because then we got to reload it twice and it's the same loading in and out.
Yep, and there's one of 1,000 reasons why that could happen, and it's just best if everybody, top down, is flexible. Because it's not like the dispatcher wants to go out there and ruin your day. All right, the dispatcher was told by somebody else and has to play that intermediary to get the job done.
Yeah.
So, more or less, I feel like that's probably about. If you guys don't have any other comments on dispatching, we might move into picking in the blind.
Well, as long as
Connor,
as long as you dispatch in Colorado and don't send me no more text messages across the country to be there at 7 a.m, I think I don't have anything else to say.
Well, trust me, I depend on reliable help, so you don't have to worry about that.
Love it.
All right, so I did come up with the picking in the blind, and picking in the blind, if you remember the last two that we've done, is pretty much something entirely off the wall that none of the other three guys know about, and they're shooting from the hip. So I enjoy my history, so I'm going to do a little bit of history on this one. And this might be a little tricky for Connor because he probably doesn't understand, which could make for the best examples, and he will be the first one to die of dysentery. Because my question is, if you were in the early 1800s taking the Oregon Trail across America, what time would you leave? What would you pack? And what would you do specifically as a crane operator to try to get you and your people across the wilderness of Western America without dying?
I'd take a
Go ahead.
I got this.
Oh, go ahead, Dave. I'm looking forward to this one.
I would have been the first one to invent the crawler track. Period.
Yeah. You've been a pioneer kind of pony.
2-horse pony.
2-horse pony. Okay. Are you saying you would use ponies or horses to cross the Oregon Trail?
No, I think I would use oxen, but
okay.
A pony. You would need a pony.
I would be the first one.
Track.
I would have.
You would.
I would build tracks out of little like wood pickets, and tie them together.
Mm-hmm.
Grade
and then
stakes
have
from the
your little
dirt crew,
wheels
maybe?
in there. Yeah.
Nice.
Get a little manual scooper,
Oh yeah.
Invent the backhoe, stuff like that.
Oh, okay. An old Osiris shuttle.
Oh yeah.
That would be. I always wanted to run one of those. Anyways, Kenny, how do you plan on traveling across America without interstates on open prairie without dying of dysentery?
First of all, remember
you took too long. You're dying of dysentery. Connor,
big words. I'm processing now. Big words. Distance Terry. I don't know. You said Oregon Trail earlier. Is that like your organs in your body laying along the trail?
you're probably not wrong on that one.
Yeah, after you die from dysentery.
Well,
yeah. Dysentery is you shat yourself to death.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay. I don't know how I'd do it. I'd probably just be like, either movement is life. You either get your ass up and let's get moving, or you're going to lay here and die, I guess. I don't
know. That's a great attitude to have. Kenny, that's probably the most wisest thing you've said in 3 episodes so far.
Well, shit, I just broke my streak, I guess.
What about you, Connor? Being that, you're from another country, have never been to America, have never seen the vast openness, which we truly invite you to come out here. It would be a blast. I'd buy you a drink.
I'll be coming out. I'll be coming out next year. I think. I think
Hell, yeah.
I'd definitely take a lot of Yorkshire tea. You've got to have Yorkshire tea on the trip.
Yeah.
What actually is that
Connor
trail?
surviving on tea.
No, you don't need that. You need some good old fashioned sweet tea, which I got in my glass here.
I know. I'm still trying.
Well, tea's a diuretic. That's just going to hasten your death.
If you get
words
the
need to
dysentery.
stop. Just come on now.
I know.
Jeez.
I don't understand. I don't understand half of these words. What is the actual distance of the trail in meters, Travis? Can you tell me that?
Let me see here. If I were to make a guess of it, imagine walking by oxen. Here, let me.
Get it up from
I want to go out on a limb here and say this might be a little extreme. Imagine walking with oxen from Paris to, I don't know, Kiev in Ukraine.
The actual the Oregon Trail.
Yes, the actual Oregon Trail. Yeah.
How long is the trail, Travis?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look it up.
2,000.
So, but it's.
I've got it here. 2,170 miles.
Wow. You said 2,000. How many miles?
2,170.
70 miles. Let's put that in.
300. Or let me see. That is 3,492,276 meters.
What's that in imperial?
Put that.
That's
some distance. That is some distance to be
fair. Yeah, that's pretty much 3,500 kilometers. There you go.
Yeah, 1 mile is 1,609 meters.
The whole trip took about 6 to 8 months. And if you left later than March, you were probably going to die. Probably May. I'd say, well, the Donner Party, they left in what, like mid-May, late May, and they ended up eating each other on Donner Pass in California. So if you leave late, you have to eat each other. The bright side is they name a pass after you.
Considering you like history so much, Travis, just enlighten me a little bit here. So where did this Oregon Trail originate from? What's the crack with it?
I want to say it originated in St. Louis. Because I don't think Omaha, maybe Omaha, either Omaha or St. Louis. I don't remember.
Why did they do it? I've got the facts here actually. Why did they do the trail?
Ooh,
to move west because we didn't have a railroad out that way.
Right. Got you.
Am I right? Since you're looking at the facts.
I'm just trying to read through it here. The first European and Euro-Americans to see the far west were mountain men.
All right. Well, as Connor learns up on American history, maybe that will be the next episode. Probably
I swear
not.
That was Connor thinking in British.
Yeah, right? Good. I think we could see the steam rolling out his ears from here. This is what happens when you wake up at 2 a.m.
You know I'm terrible at history, man. Fucking terrible.
I know. I try to make
all about the Imperial. I know.
Yeah, I try to make like World War II jokes, and it just goes over his head, like the Luftwaffe.
Now, Connor, if you want a good history lesson, go look up the Trail of Tears. There. So.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If you've made it this far in our third podcast and listened to all three, I greatly appreciate your time and hope that this has been entertaining. This is where we say goodbye, and I hope to catch you for next week.
Comment.
Yes, leave some comments. Let us know. Give us your thoughts, opinions, any topic ideas, or give us. We're always willing to take the news articles, the topic ideas, or suggestions for picking in the blind topics. Short of that, I hope you guys stick around for episode 4, which is Probably going to be a spicy one because this is where we're going to talk about union versus non-union, the pros, the cons, and the differences between the two. So thank you again for making it this far, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you,
Said
guys.
Said that.
All right, I'm done.
All right.